I'm Lisa, the artist behind Lachri Fine Art. It is Tuesday, so I'm here to critique one of your original paintings or drawings. If you have an original painting or drawing that you would like to submit for critique, head over to my website, lachri.com/critique. As always, that link is below in the video description. There is a very, very long waiting list, so if you really want tips on your artwork right now and aren't worried about being featured in the video, you may want to head over to either our Google Plus or our Facebook groups. I will have links to both of those below in the video description, where there are artists who can give you some tips there. Today's submission comes from artist Alina Apostol. She has painted this in acrylics. Her goal here was to create a landscape with a bit of a fantasy feel. I love the colors you used here. The bluish purple with the greens is just beautiful. The rays of light, oh my gosh, your rays of light are so perfect. I love how you painted those. One of the things that I like so much about this piece is that with just a few minor adjustments, you can really make a huge impact on the overall piece. So the first thing we're going to look at is on the trees. The leaves on the trees above, they're just so, they feel like they're a little bit on the balding side. If you fill that out, that is going to make a big difference in the amount of depth that you have. And whenever I paint trees, I will generally start with my darkest color first, so like a dark green, lay that in there, fill it out a little bit more, and then come on top with my highlights, at least 2 additional colors of highlights, where I go 1 shade lighter or a few shades lighter with the green, and then my lightest kind of a greenish yellow or a green that I've added maybe a little bit of unbleached titanium white just to lighten it a bit. Those 3 colors together will give me a much more full, much more realistic look in the trees. And one of the things that happens a lot, especially with newer artists or people who are newer to painting with oils or acrylics, is that they're worried about using too much paint and they don't use enough. Don't be afraid of that. Get that paint on there. Load that brush up a little bit more. Really block that in more so it doesn't feel quite so scarce. Next, your trees are painted in 2 main rows. You have your background trees, which is great. You've got them in the distance, they're faded, so that helps to build up your depth that you're looking for. And then you have a row up front, but you don't have much in the middle. Get some trees in the middle there that are somewhere in between. Not quite as light, as faded as the ones in the background, but not as dark as the ones in the foreground, and something in between width-wise, so that will help create a little bit more depth than just the 2 rows that you have right now. Next, let's look at the road. Now, this is a big deal when you're working on landscapes. When you have a road or a stream or anything that kind of works its way off, any sort of path, anything like that that works its way out into the distance, you want to make sure that you don't just do a straight line going in, which is good. You did not do that. You did curve yours out, but watch the curve. When it starts to curve, move it into a more horizontal line. Yours right now comes up and then swerves back down. So it doesn't look like the road curves. It looks like the road fell, like it's warping off to the side. It's a huge hill. And even if that is your goal, I still wouldn't paint it that way. I would go ahead and just flatten things out. It just will make things look much better perspective wise than having something curve back down and get smaller as it comes forward, because even if it curved back down, it would start to enlarge as it comes back towards the viewer. So just, there's a bit of a problem with the perspective here, and an easy solution is, instead of curving the road down, just straighten it out this way. You did a great job though, making it get smaller as you went down, and I like how you did the brush strokes where you're going back and forth this way for the dirt. I think that looks great. Next, let's look at the foreground. Again, going into creating a perspective where you want things to feel like the stuff up front is closer to the viewer, and one easy way you can do that, you want to hype up your contrast on the stuff that is closer to the viewer. Get more of your yellows in there too. That will help. The yellows and greens, pull more of those highlights out on the grass. The grass, the way that you painted it, I think you did a great job. Your flowers look great. Hype up that contrast and pull some more yellows into the greens that you have here for your highlights. The background is perfect. You want everything muted in the background, but as you move your way forward in order to make it feel closer to the viewer, just hype that up a bit. It will make a big difference in creating the depth where you feel like you're going into the forest, like it's not just a painting, but that you can walk right in. Now, moving on to the wolf, you stated in your submission, I would like to say that I'm not satisfied with the wolf at all. It is my first one, and I realized that it's not easy to paint small animals. Also, I did not intend the wolf to be too realistic, but more of a shadow creature. Any tips on that? Now, you are so right. It is not easy painting animals small and in the distance, because they're just going to be the hint of things. Like right now, you tried to paint out certain edges on the bridge of his nose. You painted out detailing his eyes. There's too much contrast there. You painted the lips for his muzzle. None of those things you would see that far away. You might see the hint of an eye, but it would be very faded. There would be no definite lines or definite outlines. Well, there shouldn't be definite outlines anyway, but the detailing that you're trying to put in there is going to make it look less realistic. In this case, because he is so far away, you want everything to be very soft, very fuzzy. The other thing is that you really want to watch your anatomy, because that is is definitely off here. His just all in general, his proportion, his anatomy is not quite right. So that's going to throw things off because you can't make up for that with the detailing like you might in something that's close up. So you really want to make sure that that outline is just perfect and that everything's very, very well balanced out. The next problem with this guy is that he's so bright. When you look at this painting, it's like, wow, there's a bright white spot in the middle there that color isn't that bright anywhere else in this piece. So your attention is drawn into a very weird location of this painting. By muting that, white, you have to remember, is never white. It's going to be various shades. You are only going to use white for your brightest highlights on something. And something in the distance like this, you wouldn't see any straight white. You really wouldn't. In this case, he's kind of in the shadows. You don't have strong lighting on him. There would be no white on this guy. So even if he wasn't going to be more of a shadow creature, you would still have him very, very faded, where it's a lot of the blues and the colors around him are going to reflect on that white. The next thing is, being that you said you wanted him to feel more like a shadow creature, you could make this so much easier on yourself. Use transparent mixing white instead of your titanium white. The more opaque white is going to be the titanium. Use the transparent mixing white. Liquitex makes theirs in the heavy body that I really like. I believe they also have that in the soft body paints. I'm pretty sure I have some down here. I don't remember if I bought some of that, but either of those should work fine for you because they are going to be more translucent. You're going to get more of that shadowy type creature. You still have to watch out for your initial drawing, make sure that's very accurate, and you'll want to do some shading even with using that. You wouldn't just want the outline done with that alone. Get some shading in there, but not too much. Don't try to force too much detail on something that's this small. Now, if this painting were huge, let's say it's taking up a whole wall, you're doing almost mural size, then yeah, you could put in more detail in that safely and make it look right. But when you're painting small like this, what you're going to do is get the hint of that wolf, get the general gestures of the paintbrush strokes in there, not try to get in all the little hairs or the little details in the eyes or around the mouth. You wouldn't see that. It wouldn't be something that you would really notice. So go ahead and make it easier on yourself. Get rid of some of the detailing. Just make sure that outline is correct. And again, that transparent mixing white is definitely your friend when you're trying to make something look sort of ghost-like, translucent, spirit, whatever you're going for here. That would be a really, really great solution. And when we tone him down, look at what a difference it made in the overall balance of this piece. You're no longer instantly drawn just to the wolf. Yeah, he still stands out, but not as much as before. Now the balance, you kind of move around a little bit better. But again, this is beautiful, especially those rays of light. You did such wonderful work there. Keep up the good work. Have you subscribed yet? If not, handy button right there. You can click on that. That'll help you to keep up to date with all 5 of my new art videos every single week. It's a lot of videos. And there's a button right over there. Am I pointing in the right direction? There? No, I think it's this way. That button will take you to more of my videos. I have over 600 on this channel, so there's a lot for you to watch. I'll see you guys tomorrow.